The Wanderer drifted through the void like a ghost ship, its hull scarred by micrometeorites and plasma burns from a battle that had ended 3 months ago. Captain Emma Vale sat in her command chair, staring at the tactical display that showed nothing but empty space in every direction. Her crew of 47 had been reduced to 12, and their food supplies would last maybe 2 weeks if they rationed carefully. "Still no response from Fleet Command," reported Lieutenant Tom Cross from the communications station. His voice carried the weight of exhaustion that had settled over them all since the Battle of Kepler 7. "The quantum relay is completely fried," Emma nodded grimly. The Wanderer was a frigate-class vessel, built for speed and reconnaissance, rather than extended independent operations. They'd been separated from the main fleet during the chaotic retreat, and their jump drive had suffered critical damage in the process. Now they were lost somewhere in the outer rim, 47 light years from the nearest human outpost. "Captain," called out Chief Engineer Lisa Park from her station, "I've been running diagnostics on the jump drive. The good news is the core is intact. The bad news is we need rare earth elements that we simply don't have aboard." "What kind of elements?" Emma asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "Compressed trilithium for the quantum stabilizers, purified xenon for the field generators, and about 3 tons of processed neutronium for the core matrix. Without those, we're stuck at sublight speeds for the next ... well, forever." Emma closed her eyes and felt the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. 12 lives depending on her decisions. 12 people who trusted her to get them home. The responsibility was crushing, but she'd accepted it the day she'd pinned Captain's bars to her collar. "There has to be something," she muttered. "Some way to, Captain." The urgency in Tom's voice made everyone on the bridge snap to attention. "I'm picking up something on long-range sensors. Multiple contacts bearing 2-7-Mark-15. Emma's eyes flew open. After 3 months of nothing but empty space, any contact was significant. "What kind of contacts?" Tom's fingers danced over his console as he refined the sensor data. "At least 50 vessels, various configurations. They're huge, Captain. Some of them are reading as over 10 kilometers in length." "Alien?" Emma asked, though she already knew the answer. No human fleet had ships that large. "Definitely non-human architecture," Tom confirmed. "Wait. I'm detecting energy signatures. They're powering weapons." Emma felt her heart rate spike. First contact with an unknown alien species while stranded and nearly defenseless. This could go very wrong, very quickly. But as she looked around at her skeleton crew, she realized they might not have a choice. Every great bond starts with a single moment of courage. HFY Chronicle Stories is just beginning, and your support matters. If you love emotional sci-fi tales, forbidden connections, and stories that stay with you, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us bring more stories from the stars to you. "Lisa, how much power can you give me for the engines?" Emma asked, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "Maybe 60% for a short burst," Lisa replied. "But Captain, we can't outrun ships that size." Emma stared at the tactical display, watching as the alien fleet began to change course toward them. Sometimes she realized courage wasn't about fighting or running. Sometimes it was about taking the biggest gamble of your life. "Open a channel on all frequencies," she ordered. "Let's see if we can talk to them." The alien response came faster than Emma had expected, and in perfect standard English. "Human vessel, you have entered hegemony space without authorization. Prepare to be boarded and your crew processed." The voice was cold, mechanical, as if filtered through a dozen translation protocols. Emma exchanged glances with her bridge crew. The fact that they knew human languages was troubling. "This is Captain Emma Vale of the Earth Federation vessel." "Wanderer," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "We're experiencing technical difficulties and mean no harm." We request safe passage to continue repairs. A different voice responded, this one with an organic quality that suggested the speaker was actually alive rather than an AI. Captain Vale, I am Commander Rex of the Hegemony Battle Fleet. Your technical difficulties are irrelevant. You will submit to boarding, or you will be destroyed. Through the view screen, Emma could see the alien ships approaching. They were massive, angular vessels that looked more like floating cities than warships. Energy readings were off the charts, each. One could probably vaporize the Wanderer with a single shot. Tom, passive scan only, Emma whispered. I want to know what we're dealing with. The data that came back made Emma's blood run cold. 57 capital ships, each crewed by what appeared to be hundreds of thousands of individuals. Weapon. Systems that operated on principles human science barely understood. And most disturbing of all, cargo holds that showed signs of containing other captured vessels. Captain, Lisa whispered from her station, I'm reading massive energy buildups across their fleet. They're charging weapons. Emma realized they were out of time and options. But as she stared at the overwhelming force arrayed against them, something clicked in her mind. The aliens had spoken English too easily, knew too much about human technology. This wasn't first contact, this was something much worse. Tom, scan the cargo holds of those ships more carefully, she ordered. Look for human technology signatures. The results confirmed her worst fears. Captain, I'm reading remnants of at least a dozen human vessels in their holds. Some of the energy signatures match Federation design specs. Emma felt rage building in her chest. These weren't just random aliens. They were predators who had been hunting human ships. Her jaw tightened as she made her decision. Rex, this is Captain Vale, she said into the comm. I need to know what happened to the human crews of those ships you're carrying. The alien commander's laugh was like grinding metal. The crews were processed, Captain. Their biological materials were quite useful for our research programs. You will join them shortly. Emma closed her eyes and felt something shift inside her. When she opened them again, her expression had changed completely. The exhausted, desperate captain was gone, replaced by something far more dangerous. Lisa, I need everything you've got, she said quietly. Tom, target their command ship, and everyone else. Hold on. Captain, what are you planning? Tom asked, though he was already feeding targeting data to the weapons systems. Emma smiled. And it wasn't a pleasant expression. These things have been hunting us, Tom. Picking off isolated human ships, experimenting on our people. They think we're weak because we're alone. She paused, her fingers dancing over her command console. They're about to learn what happens when you corner a human. The Wanderer was a reconnaissance frigate, not built for heavy combat. But what the aliens didn't understand about human military doctrine was that every ship, no matter how small, was designed with one last resort option. Captain, Lisa said, understanding dawning in her voice, the Cascade Resonance Protocol hasn't been tested at this scale. Emma's smile widened. Then I guess we're about to run the ultimate field test. The Cascade Resonance Protocol was theoretical, a last resort weapon that had been discussed in war colleges but never implemented. The idea was terrifyingly simple. Overload a ship's fusion reactor while simultaneously destabilizing the quantum field generators, creating a chain reaction that would propagate through subspace itself. Captain, are you sure about this? Tom asked, his hands hovering over the weapons console. The theoretical models suggest. The theoretical models were wrong about a lot of things, Emma interrupted. Lisa, initiate the protocol. Set the resonance frequency to match their power signatures. As Lisa's fingers flew over her console, Emma opened the comm channel one last time. Commander Rex, this is Captain Vale. I'm going to give you one chance to release any surviving human prisoners and withdraw from this system. Rex's mechanical laugh echoed through the bridge. Captain, you pilot a single damaged vessel against 57 capital ships. Your threats are meaningless. Emma looked around at her crew, 11 men and women who had trusted her with their lives. They stared back at her with expressions of determination mixed with terror. They all knew what she was planning. Tom, send a message on all emergency frequencies, Emma ordered. Tell them what happened here. Tell them about the hegemony, about what they do to human crews. Message sent, Captain. Emma nodded and turned back to the comm. Rex, you've made a mistake. You think humans are weak because we explore in small groups, because we don't travel in massive fleets like you do. But you don't understand what that really means. She paused, watching as the alien ships moved into what they probably thought was an optimal attack formation. They were clustering together, maximizing their firepower while minimizing the Wanderer's ability to escape. Perfect. You see, Rex, when humans are alone, truly alone, we don't surrender. We don't beg. We don't hope for rescue. Emma's voice had gone deadly quiet. We do whatever it takes to make sure our enemies pay the price for underestimating us. Lisa, status report, she asked without taking her eyes off the view screen. Fusion reactor at 115% and climbing. Quantum field generators are fluctuating in harmony with their power signatures. The resonance cascade is building, Captain. Once I hit the trigger, there's no stopping it. Emma nodded. Through the view screen, she could see the alien fleet adjusting formation, moving closer together. They probably thought they were being tactically sound, overwhelming a single small ship with massive firepower. They had no idea they were arranging themselves for maximum cascade effect. Captain, Tom said quietly, long-range sensors are picking up another human ship. It's badly damaged, but there are life signs aboard. Emma felt her heart skip. Another crew, possibly another captain facing the same impossible choice she was about to make. But this time, things would be different. Range to target? She asked. 20,000 kilometers and closing, Tom replied. Emma took a deep breath. In her mind, she could see her parents' faces, her sister's smile, the Earth she might never see again. But she also saw the faces of every human crew that had been processed by these predators. The choice wasn't really a choice at all. All hands, this is the captain, she announced over the ship's comm system. It has been an honor serving with you. Lisa, on my mark. Emma watched as the alien fleet moved into perfect position, their overlapping energy fields creating exactly the resonance pattern they needed. She thought about every human exploration ship that had ever launched into the unknown, every crew that had faced impossible odds and chosen to stand firm. Mark, she said quietly. Lisa's hand slammed down on the trigger. The cascade began as a whisper in subspace, a barely detectable fluctuation in the quantum foam that surrounded the Wanderer. Lisa had calibrated the resonance frequency to match the aliens' power signatures perfectly, and the reaction spread like wildfire through their tightly packed formation. Cascade initiated, Lisa reported, her voice surprisingly calm. Resonance. Propagation is exceeding theoretical parameters by 400%. Captain, their shields are actually amplifying the effect. Emma watched through the view screen as the first alien ship began to buckle. The massive vessel's hull rippled like water as the cascade tore through its structural integrity field. Then the ship next to it began to shudder as the quantum distortion spread. Captain, Tom shouted from his station. I'm reading massive power fluctuations across their entire fleet. Their fusion reactors are going critical. Rex's voice crackled. Over the comm, no longer mechanically calm. What have you done? Our reactors are destabilizing. Emma leaned back in her command chair, watching as 10 billion years of alien technological advancement crumbled before human ingenuity and desperation. I told you, Rex, you made a mistake. The cascade effect was beautiful and terrible to watch. Each ship that succumbed to the quantum resonance sent out its own wave of destabilization, creating a chain reaction that spread faster than the aliens could respond. Their massive fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming just moments before, was tearing itself apart. "Captain, I'm reading something strange," Tom reported. "The cascade isn't just destroying their ships, it's interfering with their FTL drives. They can't jump away." Emma felt a grim satisfaction. The aliens had clustered together for maximum firepower, but that same formation had made them vulnerable to a cascading quantum effect they'd never encountered before. Human military doctrine had always emphasized adaptability and unconventional tactics over brute force. "Lisa, how's our reactor holding up?" Emma asked. "Surprisingly well," Lisa replied, checking her readings. "The cascade is propagating through their power signatures, not ours. We're riding the wave instead of being consumed by it." Through the view screen, Emma could see the alien fleet dying. Ship after ship succumbed to the quantum cascade, their hulls cracking open like eggs as the resonance tore through their molecular bonds. The largest vessels lasted longer, but even they couldn't withstand the fundamental breakdown of matter that the cascade created. "Tom, are you still reading that other human ship?" Emma asked. "Yes, Captain." "The Aurora, registration indicates. It's a merchant vessel. They're watching everything on passive sensors." Emma smiled grimly. "Let them watch. Let them see what happens when you threaten humanity." The message would spread not through official channels, but through the informal network of spacers and traders who carried news between the stars. "Rex, are you still there?" Emma asked over the comm. The alien commander's response was weak, filled with static from his dying ship. How is this possible? Our technology is millions of years more advanced. Emma stood up from her command chair and walked to the view screen, watching as the last of the massive alien vessels cracked apart. "That's your problem, Rex. You relied on your technology being superior, but humans... we've learned to make do with less. We've learned to be creative, to take risks, to find solutions that shouldn't work, but somehow do." She paused, watching. Debris spread across space where 57 capital ships had been just minutes before. "You hunted us because you thought we were weak," Emma continued. "Small ships, small crews, far from home. But every human who goes into the black knows the risks. We don't expect rescue. We don't count on backup. We go out there knowing that if something goes wrong, we're on our own." The comm went silent. Rex's ship had finally succumbed to the cascade. Emma turned back to her crew, who were staring at her with expressions of awe and terror. They'd just witnessed the destruction of an entire alien battle fleet by a single damaged frigate, using a weapon that existed only in theory until 10 minutes ago. "Tom, signal the Aurora," Emma ordered. "Tell them they're free to continue on their way. And tell them to spread the word humanity is not easy prey." 6 months later, Captain Emma Vale stood in the debriefing room at Fleet Command, facing a panel of admirals who still seemed to struggle with believing her report. The story of the Wanderer and the Battle of the Cascade had spread throughout human space, becoming legend even as the official investigation continued. "Captain Vale," Admiral Kane said, reviewing the data for the 100th time. "Your ship's telemetry confirms the destruction of 57 alien capital vessels using an untested theoretical weapon. The energy readings suggest a combined alien crew of approximately 10 billion individuals." Emma nodded. The number still seemed impossible, even to her. 10 billion casualties from a single engagement. The largest military action in human history, carried out by a crew of 12 on a damaged frigate. "The merchant vessel Aurora has corroborated your account," Admiral Kane continued. "Their sensor logs show the cascade effect propagating through the alien fleet exactly as you described. More importantly, they've reported that alien raids on human shipping have completely ceased in the past 6 months. Emma wasn't surprised. Word traveled fast in the spacer community, and the story of what happened to the hegemony fleet had probably reached every corner of known space by now. The message was clear. Humans might seem like easy targets, but cornering them was a fatal mistake. Captain, another admiral spoke up. We've been analyzing the Cascade Resonance Protocol based on your engineer's notes. Our theoretical physics department believes this could revolutionize ship-to-ship combat. How did you know it would work? Emma smiled, remembering Lisa's terrified expression as she'd initiated the cascade. I didn't, sir. But sometimes you have to make impossible choices based on incomplete information. That's what humans do. The debriefing continued for another hour, covering technical details and strategic implications. The Cascade Protocol was already being integrated into fleet tactical doctrine, though Emma suspected it would never again be as effective as it had been that day. The element of surprise was gone after the admirals dismissed her. Emma walked to the observation deck overlooking Earth's orbital shipyards. Construction had accelerated dramatically since news of the hegemony had reached Earth. Humanity was preparing for the possibility that the aliens had allies, that the 10 billion casualties might bring retaliation. Captain Vale? A young voice interrupted her thoughts. Emma turned to see a fresh-faced ensign holding a datapad. Yes? I'm Ensign Kate from the Academy, sir. I'm doing research on unconventional tactical solutions for my thesis. I was wondering, when you made the decision to use the Cascade Protocol, were you scared? Emma looked at the young woman, seeing her own younger self in the eager expression and determined posture. Terrified, she admitted. But being scared doesn't matter when people are counting on you to make the hard choices. The ensign nodded seriously, making notes on her pad. The instructors say your engagement has changed how we think about asymmetric warfare, that a single ship with the right tactics can defeat forces thousands of times larger. Emma smiled. The instructors are right, but they're missing the point. It's not about tactics or technology. It's about what humans do when we're backed into a corner with no way out. We don't surrender. We don't give up. We find a way to make our enemies regret underestimating us. She looked back out at the shipyard, where dozens of new vessels were taking shape. Each one would carry a crew of humans into the unknown, ready to explore, to discover, to face whatever waited in the dark between stars. The galaxy is full of ancient civilizations with technology we can barely understand, Emma continued. They have weapons that can crack planets, ships the size of cities, knowledge accumulated over millions of years. But they've forgotten something important. What's that, Captain? The ensign asked. Emma's smile turned predatory, the same expression. Her crew had seen just before she'd ordered the Cascade Protocol activated. They've forgotten that the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't advanced technology or overwhelming force. It's a human with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The ensign saluted and walked away, her datapad full of notes, and her head full of dreams about commanding her own ship someday. Emma watched her go, then returned her attention to the stars beyond Earth's atmosphere. Somewhere out there, other alien civilizations were probably learning about what had happened to the hegemony fleet. They were recalculating their assumptions about humanity, revising their threat assessments, and hopefully deciding that picking fights with humans wasn't worth the risk. One lost human ship. 10 billion alien casualties. The numbers told a story that would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. And at the center of that story was a simple truth that Emma Vale and her crew had proven beyond doubt. Underestimate humanity at your own peril. The end.